Imagine a deity who is not the serene, all-knowing, and ever-patient being often depicted in modern religious imagery. Instead, picture a God who is irritable, quick to anger, and endlessly complaining. This is the God of the Hebrew Bible, a character whose volatile nature is both shocking and profoundly human. In the pages of the Bible, particularly in the books of Leviticus and Numbers, we encounter a divine being who is as flawed as the people he seeks to guide. This video delves into the complex and often unsettling relationship between God and the Israelites, exploring how this dynamic shapes the moral and social fabric of the ancient world and influences the development of Western thought. In the book of Leviticus, the treatment of foreigners is a topic of significant importance and, at times, profound inconsistency. On one hand, Leviticus emphasizes the holiness and purity of the land, which is seen as an extension of God's presence. This holy land is to be kept pure, free from the polluting worship of foreign gods. The text is clear in its intention. The land is sanctified for the worship of the one true God, and any deviation from this strict monotheism is seen as a violation of divine law. However, this strictness does not always translate into a consistent policy toward foreigners. At various points in Leviticus, foreigners are denied equal treatment under the law. For instance, non-resident foreigners near the border can be captured and enslaved, and the children of resident foreigners can be purchased as slaves, a practice that is strictly forbidden for Israelites and their children. Leviticus chapter 25, verses 44 to 46. This disparity highlights the deep-seated tensions within the text, where the ideal of holiness and the practical realities of living in a diverse community often clash. Despite these inconsistencies, the foreigner is no longer regarded as a significant spiritual threat. Israel has its own God and its own established way of worship, and the primary question is how to integrate foreigners into this system. This shift in perspective suggests a growing confidence in the Israelite way of life, a confidence that allows for a more nuanced approach to social relations. The Bible is often characterized by its mood of irritability, denunciation, and angry complaint. This is especially evident in the book of Numbers, where the narrative is a relentless cycle of complaints. God complains about the Israelites complain about God, and Moses, caught in the middle, complains about both. This mutual irritability is a defining feature of the biblical narrative, setting it apart from other ancient religious texts. In the Western cultural tradition, the image of God is often one of nobility, serenity, and gravitas. The Greek and Roman gods, for all their flaws, were not known for their constant complaints. The biblical God, however, is a different kind of deity. He is not a stoic. He does not teach stoicism, and he is, by and large, impossible to please. This God is as flawed and human as the people he leads, and this mutual irritability is a step forward in the development of a more complex and realistic understanding of the divine-human relationship. The book of Numbers is a vivid illustration of this dynamic. It is a narrative where complaints are the primary mode of communication. Moses, burdened by the responsibility of leading a grumbling nation, pleads with God for relief. The Israelites, facing the harsh realities of the wilderness, vent their frustrations to Moses and God. God, in turn, responds with anger and punishment, creating a cycle of mutual dissatisfaction. One of the most poignant examples of this cycle is found in Numbers 11, where Moses, overwhelmed by the demands of the Israelites, cries out to God, "Why have you dealt ill with your servant? And why have I not enjoyed your favor, that you have laid the burden of all this people upon me?" Numbers chapter 11, verses 11. Moses' frustration is palpable, and his plea for death is a stark reminder of the immense pressure he faces. The Israelites, too, are not shy about their complaints. They lament their situation, wishing they had died in Egypt, rather than face the uncertainties of the wilderness. "If only we had died in the land of Egypt, or if only we might die in this wilderness." Numbers chapter 14, verses 2. Their complaints are a constant refrain, a testament to their fear and frustration. God's responses are equally dramatic. He threatens to strike the Israelites with pestilence and disown them, but Moses, in a moment of shrewd diplomacy, reminds God of his reputation among the Egyptians. "If then you slay this people to a man, the nations who have heard your fame will say, 'It must be because the Lord was powerless to bring that people into the land he had promised them on oath, that he slaughtered them in the wilderness.'" Numbers chapter 14, verses 16. God relents, but not without further punishment. The scouts who brought back negative reports are swallowed by the earth, and a plague kills 14,700 more Israelites. The term stiff-necked is a recurring theme in the Bible, particularly in the book of Deuteronomy. It is a metaphor for the Israelites' refusal to submit to God's will. The image of an ox refusing to lower its neck to the yoke is a powerful one, suggesting a stubborn resistance to divine authority. This characterization of the Israelites is a statement about their nature, but it is also a reflection of God's character. God is a harsh and demanding figure, and his forceful methods are often seen as necessary to keep the Israelites in line. The Israelites, in turn, are a grudging accomplice in God's plan for them. They are not enthusiastic followers, but rather a people who must be compelled to submit to a harsh and unforgiving deity. This mutual characterization of a stubborn people and a demanding God is a central theme in the biblical narrative. The books of Numbers and Exodus are filled with episodes of apostasy, where the Israelites abandon their faith in God. The most famous of these is the golden calf incident, which occurs just after the theophany at Sinai. The Israelites, impatient with Moses' absence, construct a golden calf and worship it, a blatant violation of the commandment against idolatry. God's response is swift and severe. The Levites, at Moses' urging, slay 3,000 Israelites, and God inflicts further punishment on the people. In Numbers, the apostasy of the Israelites takes a different form. After the victory over the Canaanites, the Israelites engage in orgiastic worship of the Baal of Peor. This apostasy is particularly shocking, coming as it does after the dramatic victories that God has granted them. God's response is equally dramatic. he sends a plague that kills 24,000 Israelites, and Fine, as a priest, impales a copulating Israelite man and Midianite woman, effectively placating God's wrath. These episodes highlight the extreme measures God is willing to take to maintain his authority over the Israelites. They also underscore the deep-seated tensions between a demanding deity and a people, who are often reluctant to submit to his will. The mutual irritability between God and the Israelites is not just a feature of the biblical narrative. It is a defining characteristic of the relationship between the divine and the human. This dynamic has far-reaching implications for the development of Western thought, particularly in the realm of moral and social reform. The biblical narrative, with its relentless cycle of complaints and punishments, sets a precedent for a form of moral engagement that is both critical and transformative. The preservation of this narrative, with all its flaws and tensions, is a testament to the literary and moral originality of the ancient authors and editors. By refusing to ennoble either God or the Israelites, they created a text that is both honest and challenging. This text has sown the seeds of prophecy in the Bible, and, more broadly, of moral reform in Western social history. In the end, the Bible is a book of uncomfortable truths. It presents a God who is as flawed and human as the people he seeks to guide. A God who is as quick to anger as he is to compassion. The mutual irritability between God and the Israelites is a central theme that shapes the moral and social fabric of the ancient world. This dynamic, with its cycles of complaints and punishments, is a testament to the complex and often unsettling nature of the divine-human relationship. It is a relationship that is both challenging and transformative, a legacy that continues to influence Western thought to this day.